Good morning. Before we get started, please like and subscribe. Please share my channel. Please comment whether you agree with me or not. I love hearing from you. I love your input. I've been getting a lot of good feedback lately and I really appreciate it. So thanks for being here. So today, what I'd like to talk about are a lot of my videos. I'm talking about things that I've seen on YouTube and things that I do a lot of exploring. I do a lot of searching and I find things that I agree with and then I share them with you. Today, I'm going to talk about some of the things that I've been seeing that I don't agree with. There are things out there. I mean, you find all kinds of things on YouTube and social media. As everybody knows, you can't believe everything you read. You can't believe everything you see. So the things that I've been sharing with you that I do agree with, those things I found by searching a lot of different things. I don't agree with everything that I see, but I did want to bring up a couple of the things that I've been seeing lately, kind of repeatedly, that I don't agree with. And you can, please share if you disagree with me. If you believe that these things are true, or if you have evidence, or if you have found information that I haven't found, please feel free to share. But the thing that I've been seeing most often that I'm having a hard time subscribing to, or I guess I just don't know enough about it yet to really understand whether it could be true or not. A lot of people talk about the moon, the full moon. This is way down there, sorry. The full moon, the cosmos, comets, the different things that happen in the sky, and the ways that it might affect us. I believe that some of these things can affect us. I mean, as far as our physical bodies are concerned, I believe that sometimes when there are certain moon pulls or certain things, happen, it can create maybe some fatigue or, affect us in that way. But what I've been seeing that I really can't understand is when people are saying things like, oh, there's a big full moon and it's the fullest moon. It's never been this full before, and it's going to be, there's going to be a shift. And they're talking about a spiritual shift. And they're basically saying, and a lot of them do come right out and say, if you're not ready, like if you're not on a higher frequency when this moon is full on the 17th, and when this happens, if you're not up there on the higher frequency, you're going to miss the boat. You're basically just going to miss it. And they actually come right out and say, and you're going to get left behind. And I think to myself, that sounds an awful lot like the rapture. It almost sounds like if you're not saved and Jesus comes, you're going to get left behind and that'll be it. You've got that one moment and you don't know when it's going to happen. And I feel like that, whether it's the religious version of the rapture or whether it's the cosmos version of the, scientific way of looking at it, I just feel like that is almost, that it sounds like they're trying to create fear. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't believe that there is this one moment where you have an opportunity to get on a higher plane, and if you're not ready and you're not there yet, you're going to somehow miss the train. I don't think that this experience that we live in is a train, that we have stations and we miss our train if we're not at the station. I just don't see that. I feel like it's an ongoing, continuous experience where we learn and we grow. We learn at our own pace. Sometimes we learn faster, sometimes we lag behind. Sometimes we learn something that puts us through a breakthrough and we have an aha moment and we enter this place of peace. And then sometimes we fall off that and we go back and we pick up things that from the past that we or old habits again, and then we learn again. I mean, it's just this constant, our lives are just a constant learning experience, a continuous learning experience. And we ebb and we flow. We don't keep rising higher and higher and higher and higher and higher until we get to the top. And then one day we're like 45 years old and we're like, I made it, I'm at the top. Because that doesn't happen in this lifetime. This life, we have so many years to learn so many things. And what I believe is that till the day we die, we don't learn everything. I don't believe we make it to the top while we're still alive here. I don't believe we ascend and then stay on some higher plane. I know that there are a lot of people that have websites and YouTube channels and Facebook pages called the chosen ones and the ascended ones. And I know that there are certain people who have reached a higher level of spirituality and connection with the all. You know, when you have like the monks in Tibet and you have people that are fasting and people who know how to, you know, kind of separate themselves a bit from the plagues of this world, this life, or what I call the playing board. You know, some people do have a stronger connection to the spiritual and to the all, and some people are still struggling and still staying in what they call lower vibrations, lower frequencies. And I believe that there are people that are, you know, more what I guess you would call enlightened or ascended than others in general terms. And, you know, they don't necessarily fall off of that. I don't think the monks in Tibet get to the point where they're completely at peace and then one day they just decide to get drunk and fall completely down into the bottom of the wave pool. You know, I don't think that people who do get to a higher level necessarily fall to the very bottom. Sometimes they do, but I just think everybody has their own experience. I don't see it as levels. I don't see it as anybody is higher than anybody else. Like, oh, you're the enlightened one and you've made it. And, you know, there are people who still suffer in their misery. There are still people who suffer in fear. There are people who suffer in addiction and people who suffer with a lot of different depression and a lot of different, you know, physical and emotional, mental, you know, things that hurt them, that cause them pain. And I've had a lot of times when I have felt like I had an aha moment and I was lifted up into a, like, wow, I feel like I'm so free right now. And then I got myself into another situation and I went down into, this isn't good, you know. No longer do I feel free. Now I feel like I'm in fear. And so that's happened a lot of times in my life. I feel like I've lived a lot of different lifetimes and learned different things in each one. But, you know, I kind of look at it like a corporate flow chart. When you look at any kind of a chart and say that you're investing money and you put money in the market and they show you your chart and you invest for, say, 50 or 60 years and they tell you just put the money in the market, don't worry about it, let it do its thing. It'll go up and it'll go down, but ultimately it'll keep going up. So you look at that over time and you see that, yes, it's had its nose dives and it's had its, you know, it's risen and it's gone up and down. But in the long haul, it's continued to go up. And that's how I kind of feel about our journey here on this earth. I feel like we go up and down as we learn, because I think that we are given new lessons. I don't think it's that sometimes we learn the same lessons over and over again until we figure it out. That's happened to me. And then we get, you know, after we've gone through pain 3 or 4 times with the same lesson, finally we're like, okay, we dust ourselves off and like, I think I get it now. Okay, I've got that one, and that one's behind us. And sometimes we learn the lesson the first time around. But I think that we never stop getting lessons. I don't think that just because I've learned certain things about certain subjects, you know, money, relationships, jobs, confidence. You know, there are a lot of different things that I've learned over my life, but I don't feel like I'm finished. I don't feel like it's the last lesson I'll ever learn. I think we don't stop. Somebody who was 98 years old one day, a lady that I knew, she was 98 years old, and she came up to me one day and said, "You never stop learning." And I kind of looked at her like, you've got to have like the ultimate wisdom. She was almost 100 years old, and she's lived a lot of life, and she's been through a lot of things, and she had a lot of wisdom. And she said, nope, you never stop learning till the day you die. And coming from a 98-year-old, that really hit me, because I realized that no matter how much I think I know, and no matter how ascended I think I am, or how enlightened I think I've become, when I hit one of those moments, one of those aha moments where I'm like, I got it. Okay, so I got it, and I've been enlightened, and I've learned that lesson. That's great. But that doesn't mean I've learned all the lessons. So this past spring, I really hit a point where I hit a super low point and started to seek. And if you're watching my videos, you know that I just kind of catapulted into this new level of, wow, I see things that I didn't see before. I know things that I didn't know before. I'm practicing things that I never knew to practice before. Maybe I was too stubborn to practice before. And I felt like this spring, it was like, wow, I get it. Almost like I get the game of life. I get it. I get the rules, and I'm following the rules now. And I'm doing things right. But that doesn't mean that something else isn't going to come along, and that I'm not going to get into maybe another low spot or have to learn something different. Now, will I forget what I learned this past spring? Not if I continue to practice it. And that's one of the key things is, you know, we have to keep practicing what we already know. If we don't practice it, we lose it. Or we can lose it. I shouldn't say I. If I don't continue to practice what I've already learned and continue to remember what I've already learned, the main key for me is remembering who I am and remembering that we are the I am. And as long as I keep that as my foundation, I feel like I'll keep learning lessons from there. I don't feel like I'll fall off of that unless I forget the I am. So that's something that I fill myself with. You know, some of these videos that I watch, I fill myself with that. I continue to remind myself of the I am. I don't want to get complacent. I don't want to be, you know, rolling along through life, getting busy, doing my thing, working my job, you know, starting to worry about, oh, my car needs to go to the shop and this needs to happen, and worrying about life and getting back on ground level. I want to keep myself living in the I am. And so I practice that. But there's so much more to learn. And I don't think it's a train. I don't think that I'm going to miss the bus. I may be ready for another lesson. I may not be ready for another lesson. But this whole thing about a moon's coming and we're either going to ascend or we're not. Here's what I see. More and more as I continue to practice all these things that I'm learning, more and more I start to notice that other people, I start to be, my world becomes more filled with other people who are on that same page. And I do feel very strongly that when we get to a certain point where we're seeing certain things, I believe a certain, you know, concept, and I start to see other people that are believing that concept. 5 years ago, I couldn't have told you that I would have been getting on YouTube and seeing a whole bunch of people that are talking about ascension and the I am and the all and the one. And a lot of it has to do with algorithms. You have to remember that when you're on social media or any kind of media or anything on your phone will hear you. And so the algorithms have a lot to do with that too. It's not just some cosmic thing that everybody's coming together. Like when I'm out at the grocery store, I rarely have people just walk right up to me and say, hey, are you ascended? You know, so a lot of it has to do with media. So we also have to remember that we are attracting like minds and like thoughts. So the things we're talking about and the things that we're sharing and the things that we are discussing and Google searching and YouTube searching, those things are going to be filling our phones and our computers more than they would have before. It doesn't mean that I have ascended and that all of a sudden there's this whole big, wow, everything has changed. No, it just means that I'm learning new things, and those things that I'm learning are helping me in my life, and they're helping me to help other people. They're bringing me together with other people, and that is what matters. It's not about catching a train for me anyway. Again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you what to think. If you have any opinions on this at all, please share. So that's it for today. I'm going to get into the office. It's been really nice talking with you again, and I hope you're having a great day. I'll see you next time.